He says, I, a 30-year-old male, got married 2 weeks ago. I was married before, but it ended after I found that my older brother Thomas, a 34-year-old male, got involved with my first wife. Talk about low. Like, there's all the women out there that guy could hook up with, and he gets involved with his wife. Really? It was devastating because we were close and had a great relationship. Well, not as great as you thought. I also helped him so much while he was struggling, and seeing how he repaid it hurts me to this very day. I stopped talking to him, and Mom and Dad forced me to keep it a secret because I was too weak to argue with them. I just kept my own distance. Are they nuts? He freaking ruined his marriage, cheated on with his wife, and Mom and Dad want to keep it a secret? Gee, guess who Mom and Dad favors here, right? I have to wonder if this young guy here is the biological child of the father. Then I met my now wife. My family loved and embraced her as their own. My mom and dad treat her like a queen, which helped repair and solidify my relationship with them. However, as the wedding was approaching, they told me they expected me to invite Thomas. Expected? Who's paying for this wedding? Because if they're paying, even if they are paying for the wedding, regardless, it's his wedding, and his brother's a lowlife. You don't tell me what to do. I'm a grown-ass man. End of freaking story here. I, of course, refused, but they kept guilting me about what the relatives and other guests would think, and they would say when they didn't see Thomas there, too bad, don't be that worn down. And by the way, I think he caved before because he obviously was so worn down and saddened by the fact that he was betrayed by his wife and his marriage ended. So I fought with them about it till the day of the wedding. Turned out they invited him anyway behind my back, but I found out and stopped them in time. These parents are the biggest a-holes in the world. It's all about a show. It's all about them. They don't care about what this young guy, how he feels, anything like that. I mean, they're fucking lowlifes. It's all about how they appearances and all that. Well, he's about to get even with them and the brother here. So they came to my wedding looking pissed off, asking what we were going to tell people when they asked about Thomas. I don't know. Tell them the truth? That would have been a novel idea years ago. I told them I'd take care of it. And what I did was take a moment while everyone was paying attention, grab the microphone, and flat out announce this and said, the reason I didn't invite Thomas to my wedding is because I was worried he'd steal my now wife, just like he stole my first one. Well, they pushed him too far. See, this wouldn't have been necessary if Mom and Dad would just let it go, or would let him tell the story to the whole family before. I said it playfully to not make it sound so tense, but most of the guests looked shocked and started mumbling and then went awkwardly quiet for a moment. Well, what do you expect people to do? I mean, really. Then we moved on, but I saw Mom and Dad walk out while looking at me grudgingly. Hey, Mom and Dad, you brought this shit on yourself. Now, this could probably have been handled differently, but still. Later, they started lashing out about how I just exposed Thomas and caused him to be shunned by the family in the most hideous of ways. So when does Thomas here get any kind of repercussions for his actions? None. There was no consequences as far as I can hear in this whole story here, because I'm sure this guy would have mentioned that. None. He's obviously he was the firstborn, spoiled brat, and look at his actions here, I told them I already said I didn't want him here, yet they tried to push him on me, repeatedly saying, what are people going to say? So I told them the reason why he wasn't there in a playful way, but the guests, still got the message. Mom started yelling about how everyone will now look down on and shun Thomas, and she called me pathetic and cruel for still punishing him and gradually ruining his life, despite him apologizing and trying to reconcile. But in my opinion, some things are just unforgivable. That is unforgivable. End of freaking story here. We've been on horrible terms since then, and I wanted to know, am I the a-hole here? My wife said, at least now they're off my back about what people would say about not inviting him. So notice this whole thing, you don't hear anything about his wife freaking out or yelling at him at the reception because of this whole thing. And right ended here saying, well, on the bright side, they're off your back now, and people will now know why you didn't invite him. So what do I think about this? I think this guy from the get-go should have made it clear, no, I'm not forgiving him. Or maybe I forgive him, but I want nothing to do with him. Or from the get-go, no, absolutely, he's not coming to the wedding. And if you guys push that, then we're not going to have a relationship, Mom and Dad. But obviously he was worn down. But they pushed him into a corner here. Now, again, it would have been nice he didn't do this at the reception, but you know what? They pushed him at it, and it's pretty darn funny. And it doesn't sound like his wife was losing it over the whole thing at all. In fact, she probably thought it was warranted at this point, you know? And I would say this guy should pretty much cut off mom and dad for the foreseeable future, if not for the whole time. Better to be alone than to have people that don't care about you treat you disrespect. They don't care at all about how he feels. His first marriage was ruined, right? His brother was banging his fucking wife. I mean, and they're just letting it go, and just nobody gets to find out about that? No. And that brother is just going to go do something like that down the road. So, while I think it could have been done differently, I don't blame him at this point. And, hey, at the end of the day, he could do what all the girls do, blame the alcohol. So, now, the comment section is mixed. You got a lot of people that agree with him, and people that don't agree with him. So, I'll mix it up. But I think it's pretty funny regardless. One guy says, not the a-hole. Your bro brought this on himself, and your parents, good grief, that's how they repaid you in terms of repairing the relationship. Then perhaps you're better off without them. And I don't often suggest no contact. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have anything to do with these parents anymore. It's always sad when you have families and you have one kid that clearly is the golden child, treated like he or she walks on water, and the other one is just like, you know. Another one. Not the a-hole for not inviting him, but you're the a-hole to your new wife for what you did at the wedding. If I were marrying you that day, I would really look at you and not completely over your first wife, announcing it to all your guests on the day of your wedding. He was over his first wife, he just didn't want to be around his brother. Now, instead of focusing on the happiness you and she share and celebrating that, your guests will be talking about your first marriage to your first wife and how you guys ended it. That sucks for her and would make that very difficult. Well, it doesn't sound like his wife is that bent out of shape about the whole thing. I think, in a way, she probably found it amusing because, obviously, this has just been going on. Another guy says, congratulations to you and your wife. Not the a-hole. If they respected your wishes, it wouldn't have gotten to this point. Inviting him behind your back is just wrong. I can see how they wanted you and your brother to have a relationship, but your brother destroyed that. And it's up to you if you ever want a relationship with him again. Also, it sounds like they're probably more concerned about the shame of people knowing what he did, which is also not your problem. Right. Now, yeah, it's going to make them look bad, regardless, but you know what? I think the mom and dad have done enough in their lives to make themselves look bad. And another one. Esh, your parents, obviously. You suck for making your wedding reception about your brother and your first wife. He made it clear he didn't want this. He didn't want the brother to come. He would have avoided all this, but the parents pushed it on him. Despite what your parents thought, most of the guests there, e.g. your current wife's family and guests, your friends, probably a lot of your own family, were giving Thomas little to no thought at all. Your wife's extended family and old friends might not even know you had a brother. And then you made a big announcement. Afterwards, he was probably the talk of the reception. If you wanted people to spend your wedding reception gossiping and making rude jokes about you and your bro and asking your current wife for the whole story, good job. If you wanted them to focus on your current wife and you should have left it alone. Well, we can all be pushed too far, and this guy clearly was. And again, it would have been better, obviously, didn't do that there, but it doesn't sound like his wife, it's too bad with her, unless he's lying through his teeth here. Another one. This is the last one here. It says, you and your whole family seem like assholes. Who sleeps with their brother's wife than actually wants to come to the next wedding? Anyway, who protects a cheater and is more worried about image and what people might say than just having a nice wedding? And who makes a big show at their wedding to his wife's guests just to show his parents? And it insinuates his wife would cheat. Yeah, if your wife is fine with this, great. But I suspect she'd probably like, the fuck did I marry into? So, this guy says they're all assholes. This is like Spaceballs, a dark helmet. I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes. Well, this guy was just pushed too far, in my opinion. He's not an asshole. He was just pushed too far. The rest of them are assholes here. And I think his wife knows that. But anyhow, guys, I'll leave it up to you in the comment section to debate that one. But frankly, this shows that from the get-go, as horrible as it was, he should have, to his parents, no, I'm not going to have anything to do with the brother anymore. You're not going to push me into that. And this is my wedding, and you don't like how I'm going to have it, you don't come. But also, you know, he doesn't say if his parents are paying for it. Usually it's the bride's family pays for the wedding, but you never know. So, better this guy is on his own with his wife, who I'm assuming is a pretty good gal. We can all hope. And cut off mom and dad for a while, if not permanently, if they don't cut the shit out. But it's his life. So, there you go, guys.